So today I'm looking at my silver cell, and my silver shot is almost depleted. So I've got to fill up my shot so I can make more crystals. So what I'm thinking we're going to do today is that silver cement. We're going to turn this into silver shot. So what I've started to do was I took out all the little copper bits that we cemented from. Got a copper pipe, a bunch of copper coins, and some of the used up copper that went into solution, and cemented out all the silver onto. What I did already was just kind of pour off the top bit into this waste bucket, which we can cement out the copper later. But we're going to take all of this sludge and we're going to have to rinse it quite a bit and run it through the filter and then dry it out and then make shot out of it, and we will run it through the electrolysis to purify it up to 5-9 fine. That's today's job. I think I've got most of the copper out of it. The big chunks anyways, all this stuff. A lot of collectors might be mad that I've been using these copper coins, but these are good because they're thick and you can reuse them many times to cement out silver. Whereas if you use copper pipe, this is what happens. And with that, you get little chunks of copper in your solution sometimes, which doesn't make it as pure, or it can be harder to pick out little chunks of dissolved copper. And these work pretty good though. These didn't dissolve at all. But copper pipe, it's the easiest, but no, that's what happens to it. And sometimes you get leftover bits through here you have to pick out. So this is going to be today's job, and we'll walk through it together. So a couple of things we're going to need. We've got our filter. We've got our filter flask, and we've got this little suction pump, because this filter is going to get clogged up pretty easily with all this cemented silver. So it takes a long time if you don't have one of these. This is just a little cheap one off Amazon. Definitely need a bigger one for silver because it really clogs you up. We're going to need some distilled water. There is a lot of waste with doing silver. So we got about 16 liters of distilled water. Hopefully we'll only need a quarter of that, but we will see. And of course we've got our cemented silver, which is fairly saturated with the copper nitrate solution there. I've dumped most of it off, as I said, but we're going to start by taking some of this distilled water, just washing it quick, and we'll run it through the filter, and then we'll get into some more hot water, deeper washes to clean it off. Just threw in a bit of distilled water in there. Just give it a quick little wipe, or quick little swivel there. And it's hard to do. I should get a better setup here to film this stuff. Basically gonna put this through the filter, which I will turn on now. And we'll just slowly filter off the easy stuff here. Just one sec, because it's a bit harder to film. Just pouring it into the filter right now. Oh, see how much easier it is with the suction filter. So we're filtering off just little rinses at a time. This filter is going to clog up pretty quickly. But this is going to be pure copper solution, and what will be left will be the silver. Sorry, I'm gonna try to get this a better setup here. Okay, hopefully this is a little better. So I'm just doing these little washes here. Just turn this back on. Just pouring some distilled water in the bucket and do some washes. You can see it creates quite a bit of waste, and we've barely got any silver in there already. This is exactly what we want. We just want to get rid of all this blue stuff. Okay, keep her going here. Not too exciting, but this is pretty much all I'm going to be doing for the next few minutes. Just getting as much of the blue copper as we can filtered through, and until we get most of the blue stuff off, this is pretty much what we're going to be doing. I've already almost used about 3 liters of distilled water. As you can see, there's still a lot to go, but it's getting better. Filter's slowly clogging up, but with this vacuum pump it makes it a lot easier. That one's full. Let's switch it to this one and dump this. It's very good to have a bunch of these Home Depot or Canadian Tire buckets, because this produces quite a bit of waste. You can see the color is a lot lighter than it was, which is a good thing. It means we're slowly getting there. As you can see, I've already used almost a full 4 liters. And you can see all the copper cement right there. There are all the silver, sorry. Just gonna keep doing this. I'll pause the video for now, and I'll continue it as we get a little further down the process. Okay, just a quick little update. We're getting closer. It's kind of more like an aquamarine blue now. We've almost used we've almost used 8 liters of distilled water already. But we're getting there. We're gonna keep doing this until our entire silver cement is emptied into the filter. I don't know if you can see it, but we're about halfway. You can see all the silver cement slowly building up into there, going through the funnel. And until we get it all in here, or at least as much as we can fit, and the solution runs clear, we're just going to keep doing it. Been doing this for maybe, I don't know, just under 10 minutes. It's not that glorified really, but there may be easier methods, but I find this way to be, for me, I find this to be the best way to do it, as opposed to just dumping the whole thing in at once. You get clogged up pretty quick, but this way you get it filtered pretty fast. And I find you get a cleaner end result. So once we get all the silver cement in that we can fit, then you start doing hot water. You boil the distilled water and dump some boiled distilled water in there, and it shoots out any remaining stuff. And we'll do it until this goes clear. And that's kind of the first step of what we're going to be doing here. Okay, so at this point, my filter is pretty full. And I've got only that much left, but I don't think I have enough space. So what we're going to do, and you can see we're still pretty aquamarine there. But look at that, doesn't that look cool? See if you can see the sparkle off it. That is cemented silver running at about 98-99% pure. There is still copper in there, which is why we still have the blue stuff. So I'm going to go boil some hot distilled water, and then we're just going to keep running it through this until we run clear liquid. No more of this blue stuff. That means that this cemented silver should be pretty clear of most of the copper that we can get. And that's kind of the first phase of this process. I love the look of that though. That's cool looking. So I'm gonna go boil some distilled water and then we'll continue on. So I got my distilled water on a hot plate here. I'm just gonna let it boil. While I do that, just wanted to show you, this is how much waste we've already produced. Almost a full Canadian Tire bucket. And we've got that much cemented silver. So that much silver produces that much waste, and we're not done yet. We've still got to do the hot water boils, and I still got this tiny bit left. There isn't a lot, but this stuff's running pretty clear. This is the stuff I've just been swishing around and dumping in the filter, so it won't take too long. But my filter is pretty clogged up already. But it's nice and sparkly. Looks really cool. So when this heats up, we'll do our hot water washes until it runs clear. And then we're going to dump all of that into this little Corningware dish and just let it dissolve off all of the liquid, which we'll just put it on the hot plate and slowly dissolve it all off until it becomes, kind of looks like kitty litter, like a very fine dust, not dust, sandy kind of thing. But that's kind of the steps we're going to take. We're just going to wait for this to boil. It's not quite ready yet, and we will continue on. Okay, I think my distilled water is boiled enough where we can continue. I have an extra bucket here just in case my other one gets too full. Once this starts running clear, then we can reuse that distilled water in future refining, because it's pretty much just distilled water anyways once it's clear. So what we're going to do, take this off the hot plate. I'm going to turn our pump back on, and we're going to stir it as we dump our hot water in there. Hopefully I don't spill it all over the place. And we'll see how clear this starts to run. Oh, see a little chunk of copper in there already. Let's put that aside. That's kind of what you want to do. If you see any copper that's in there, just pick it out. You'll see it more as you'll see more little bits of copper as things start to dissolve out all the liquid. And But look, it's starting to run fairly clear already, which means we're doing a good job. The hot water really releases any excess copper liquid in there. Let's try to break it up a bit and make sure the hot water can get into all the little nooks and crannies. That is already pretty good. There's a little tinge of blue. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. So we're not quite there. But this we could probably reuse. Not that distilled water is expensive, but you know, it's pretty clear already, so it's good as a backup if you ever run out. Just kind of switching it around. Might not be that thrilling to watch on video, but once you start seeing clear liquid as a refiner, you get kind of happy. There's some big chunks in here, so I'm just kind of trying to break them up. You want it as much like sand as you can get. That way the water can get into as much of it as possible to get that blue copper liquid out. We've already, well, we're almost used a full 12 liters already of distilled water. I only have about 5 more liters left. That's all I've got on me, so I'm hoping that this is all I'm going to need, because I don't really want to go back out to the store. But it's running pretty clear, so I think we're pretty good. So I'm going to pause this and continue on in a minute. Okay, I just did one more little rinse, but it's running quite clear now. This is kind of where we're at. Just letting the filter finish off any liquid that it can. A couple little drops left. As the air gets sucked down, this kind of crystallizes a little bit. There's just a few drops left. I tell you, these vacuum filters are a must-have when you're doing silver. Otherwise, I've done this without a vacuum filter, and it took me a long time. Probably like 2 days, and a ton of different filters, and a lot of more waste. So far, that's all I've used. I kept this one just as extra distilled water. That was from our last little bit here. So what we're going to do now, I think we're good here. That's all we need to do. I'm going to shut off the filter. So what we're going to do now that we've filtered off all the blue copper, we're going to take our filter. I'm just putting on my glove here. We're going to put all of our cemented silver into this Corningware dish, which it gets stuck quite a bit because the filter sucks off all the liquid. It makes it really hard to get out. I don't know if this glass will work. I've broken a few of these trying to do this. Sometimes the spoon is better, but I just want to get all this off here. Hopefully you can see this on camera. I think so. There's the bottom of the filter, so that's good. Might be a little bit of filter paper in this, but that's okay. We can get that out later. Remember, this isn't totally pure silver. This is probably about 98%. That's good for now, because I still got to finish the little bit left. So this is kind of what we're left with at the moment. This is cemented silver. Still got liquid in there, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to run the rest of this little bit of silver through the filter, and then I'll put it in with this stuff, and then I'll show you what we do next. Let me just take off my gloves so I can pause this. Just wanted to show you as well, another must-have are these little squirt bottles. Because when you're trying to get all the leftover stuff in here, this is the best way to do it. You don't want to leave any silver behind. This will be a nice clean bucket when we're done with it. Just gonna rinse all the little bits of silver left from the remainder of our cemented silver. It's pretty good. These are great to have. Apparently so is a phone stand, because I just knocked over my phone. But we're just going to run the rest of this little silver bit through the filter. Same thing we just did with this stuff. And then we will continue on. Okay, we are done our filtering. This is kind of what we end up with. Gorgeous. I had to spray some water in there to get the remainder of the silver out. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this and we're going to put it on the hot plate, just on a low heat, and we're going to let it simmer and dissolve all this liquid off. This could take a little bit of time, but we're going to stir it as we go. I'm going to break any big bits, and then as things start to become more sand-like, we'll just comb through it, make sure there's no little bits of silver in there. If there's a little and you miss it, it's not a big deal, because we're going to be running this eventually through our electrolysis, which is going to purify it. But the more copper you can get out, the longer your electrolysis, your silver cell, will last. Because as it becomes saturated with copper, it needs replaced more often. And the size of cell I'm running now takes at least 14 ounces of silver to get going. You see the blue in there? That's copper going through it. When that solution turns this color, it means you gotta redissolve about 14 ounces of silver and replenish the electrolyte. And then to get that silver out, you gotta go through this process again of cementing it out and refining it. So most of this copper you can get out, the better. So we're gonna let this kind of dissolve off. Gonna take probably an hour, just on a low heat. We don't want to cook it, just nice and low. And then we're gonna turn it into shot and run it through the cell. And we'll get to that next. Just wanted to show a quick little thing here. This is our anode basket for our silver cell. All that black sludge, see if I can get a better view of it. All that sludge at the bottom, those are all the impurities from the silver that we're refining. So I'm going to wash that out, clean it up. I removed the remainder of the shot that I've got left. And I'm going to clean that up, and then we'll be ready for our silver cement, which is getting a lighter color now. which means it's slowly drying up, which is what we want. Just mixing it. I got a fork and I just kind of smush the big chunks down. Helps it evaporate better the finer it is. I haven't seen any little copper bits yet, which is a good sign. So this is almost there, probably another 20 minutes or so, I'm hoping. We're back to this. This is how much silver we've got going through our electrolysis. This is all silver crystals. It's a lot different than the ones I used to grow. These ones seem to be more bushy, as opposed to long and stringy, which is kind of cool. It's something different. So I'm just going to clean this basket out, and then we'll continue on. We're going to run this, and we're going to, instead of what I used to do is use the torch, but it takes a long time. There's a lot of silver in there. So we're going to run it through this bad boy to make shot. So I've got my little furnace here. I've got a bucket here. I'm going to put a metal bowl in the middle, and that's going to catch the silver that pours out of this. And that's going to collect our shot. And then when I get this cleaned out, we're going to put our shot in here and hook it up to our power supply. And that's going to make these crystals. And those are going to be up to 5/9 pure in theory. I don't have a tester, but that's electrolysis is the best way to purify silver and copper for that matter. So that's where we're at. Here is the end result of the silver cement. As you can see, it's got some nice sparkle to it. It's dried out nicely. We're just going to weigh it, see how much we've got, and then we're going to put it into the furnace, which silver melts around 962 degrees Celsius. I set it to 995 just so we get a good melt. And we're just going to weigh this now and see how much cement we're gonna have. I really have no idea how much is going to be in here, but I would guess 15 to 20 ounces. So there's 7.5. There's 10 ounces, 11, 12. I've milled out the container, so the container isn't a factor in this weight. Let's see. Whoa. Oh, apparently that's as high as my scale goes, so not sure what I was at there. So there's 12 ounces there, and it's probably about half, so I thought my scale went up higher than that. I guess we're probably looking at around 25 ounces of silver cement. I wonder how high this goes. It's 14. Let's see what it craps out here. Oh, there. Craps out around 17 ounces. So we still got probably about a third of it left. So yeah, I'm thinking probably around 25 ounces or so. I don't have any more of these containers, but anyways, let's hope for around 25 ounces or so. So we're hitting 834 degrees Celsius. I'm going to start to add some of this silver in here now. And then this is a brand new clean crucible, so nothing has been in it, nothing has touched it. This is only my second time using this thing, so please don't judge. I did I used it once before for copper, to make copper shot, for something else I was doing, but looks pretty cool. I'm just gonna fill some of this up now. If you guys have better suggestions on how much you put in at once or when, I have no idea. I just know you have to heat it up to a certain degree, let it melt. And then hopefully when that melts, we will take our tongs right here, lift it up and make some shot. And we're just gonna repeat that process until all of this is melted down and put into the bucket. Okay, we've hit the silver melting point, but I know there are some copper impurities in this. Copper melts at a lot higher of a temperature, around 170 or so, or 1070. So I jacked it up just in case we don't get a full melt, but if you look in here, it's looking like it's all melted up. So we're gonna run our first thing of shot here. If I can do it with one hand. So here's our first go with shot. I am not good at shot making, but that's the way it goes. We're just gonna keep repeating this over and over until all this is gone. We're gonna put a little bit of silver cement up for auction, just in case anyone's interested. It is something kind of cool to have. Not a lot of people have it, so I'll leave a few ounces up for sale. Otherwise, that's what we're doing right there. I'm not gonna record the whole thing just because it's gonna be pretty repetitive, but this is the idea behind it, and we will continue on when we get through all this. Not sure if this will show up on camera because it's pretty bright, but it's kind of cool to see it all fizz up. Melt. Get in there. We're almost done. Not much left. Kind of fun to watch. Okay, that is it. We melted everything here. I kept 5 ounces, just I'm gonna raffle off for whoever wants any. And then this is all of the shot that we've got, which is pretty good. I am not a good shot maker, but turned out pretty good. Lots of it. Pretty heavy. I'm just going to rinse this in distilled water, and then we're going to run it through the cell. But it's pretty sweet. Okay, I'm going to go rinse it. Actually, you can come with me if you want. Why not, eh? Throw in my garbage. Just go to the sink here and open up with distilled water. This is pretty much it. So after all is said and done, we've used, this would be 16 liters of distilled water for this much silver, which I think we said it was around 25 ounces or so. Could be a bit more. It feels pretty heavy. I don't know. We could weigh this. Maybe we'll weigh this. We'll let this dry out. We're gonna weigh it, and then we'll run it through the cell, just so we can get an accurate weight. Okay, we are nearing the end of silver refining video. I've got all the silver dried out. I'm just gonna give it a quick weigh. So I'm putting this on here and we'll null it out. There we go, that's 0. And also I've got 5.5 ounces here of the cement powder, which we can calculate as well. I'm curious to see if the cement powder weighs the same amount per troy ounce as the actual shot does. There's 9.5 ounces. 11. I think this scale craps out around 17 ounces. So let's see, there's 15 and a bit. Okay, so we'll say that's 17. There's the first batch. We'll just dump the rest in here. Which is another 10. So 27 plus our 5. Yeah, that's about right. We've got about 32, 33 ounces of pure, or not pure silver, about 98, 99% silver. So next, let's shut that off. The final step in the process is to run it through the cell. So we're going to scoop this into our basket, which I cleaned most of it out. Might be easier just to do this. Move that away from the cabinet and just dump it in. We'll get the rest of this here, and you can see how much the cell can hold. Quite a bit, which is what I wanted. That's why I made it a little bigger than the last one. So what the whole process was, we took sterling silver and 80%, all different varieties of silver coins. We put them in nitric acid, melted them all down, dissolved it into solution, and then we cemented it all out with the copper, which made the silver cement. And that led us up to where we are right now through this video. That should be good. So my basket is full. I've got a little bit left, which I will replenish as this goes down. This is called an anode. You want to stick that up there. Kind of get that in there. And just bury it a little bit. This is what's going to have the charge of electricity, and it's going to go through all the silver, and these black ones I believe are the negatives. I got one here and one here, and they're going to receive the silver ions. So the silver is going to go through here. Once I hook up, where's the red one? Right here. So we're going to hook this up to this. So the power is going to go through here, get all the silver, and shoot it down. And these will be the receiving ones, which means the whole basket will be a receiver. And that'll be the electrolysis. And that's how we get all the silver all through the basket. So that is the process of silver refining. The only thing I didn't show you was the dissolving silver in the nitric acid. That I had done previously before I started doing these videos. But really that's the easy part. So we're going to click this on. There's our power supply. Going to run it at, I'll throw it down to 3.8 volts, running at 1.85 amps. As the copper dissolves into the solution, which is the blue stuff, you'll see the amps go up. It'll be more conductive. But as we get more copper in here, we're going to have to change it to the solution, as I said. But when these crystals get big enough, then we'll harvest them. I can show that in a video, dry them out, and then they're ready to go. That's it. Hope you guys like the video. I'm going to do some more in the future. I'll do gold, I'll do copper. I did the copper sulfate yesterday. I'll show you guys how to use that in a few days. I'm going to be offline for a day or two. But that's the video. So if you guys have any questions or comments or want to see anything specific, just let me know. I am always around. Thanks. Oh, I should also say that entire process from start to finish was about 4 hours that took. So that's why the video is a bit long. I tried to show you guys a bit more detail than normal. The dissolving of the silver probably takes the longest. You can be running that for 5 or 6 hours depending on how much silver you have. Takes a bit of time. There's a lot of waste, as you said. As I showed, there's about almost 16 liters of distilled water was used just to make that much silver. And we used a full Canadian Tire bucket of waste. So it's not all glamorous, but that's the video. All right, I'll let you guys go. All right, thanks a lot.